Property Tribes on location at the Landlords and Letting Show Liverpool, and I'm delighted to be joined by CEO of the Residential Landlords Association, Andrew Goodacre. Andrew, it's so lovely to welcome you back to the Property Tribes, because I first caught up with you almost 3 years to the day when you'd first taken up the position at the RNA. So much has happened since then, hasn't it?
It's been non-stop, yes. We first met in Cardiff, I think in 2013. The first show I'd been to.
Yes.
First time I've been interviewed in that way. And it's hard to keep pace with all the changes that have happened in 3 years. Time for me's flown by, which suggests that I've enjoyed what I'm doing. And we've just been kept really busy by our friends in government.
Right.
That's quite a good thing, I suppose, but it's just worrying that their views on the private rental sector at the moment, and landlords in particular, seems to be that they are incredibly easy targets.
Indeed, and I think one of the things that the RLA has been so successful in doing is on the campaigning front. You've really put an awful lot of energy and effort into that, haven't you?
Yeah, we've increased resources, both in England and in Wales. We have always been aware that to have influence you need evidence, and we work very hard at gathering good research from our members. We look at the market trends, we look at market information, and then we build up constructive responses to government ideas, consultations. We think that gives us a better chance of influence. We won't always win the argument, we know that, absolutely know that. But the fact that we have met the Treasury 3 times, 4 times to discuss their Clause 24 changes, the only association to do that, the fact that we are due to meet DWP to discuss changes on universal credit that are causing problems, means that they recognise our view as being balanced, as being evidenced, and as being of having some relevance to the changes they are making.
And you also appointed David Smith as Policy Director, and I think he's had such a positive involvement in everything that you're doing.
Yeah, and David joined us in May earlier this year, and well-respected person in the private rental sector. Previously we used a chap called Richard Jones, who wanted to wind down his responsibilities, and we thought it'd be hard to replace Richard, finding who's also a lawyer, who's adept at bringing together his legal knowledge with policy work. And I thought it was almost a unique combination until we met David. And David also brings a huge wealth of property legal knowledge with an insight to the political way of doing things, and it's been a great asset to us in the last 9 months, and I'm sure that relationship will continue. He's based in London as well, which I think gives it a stronger presence in the capital, which is much needed.
Yes, with the mayoral elections going on as well as we speak.
He's been working hard. We've launched a London manifesto, mini manifesto for London. That's received good publicity. It's been well received by the candidates. And we hope really that to have a greater influence in major cities like London, because we all know, I think, that what happens in London eventually will ripple out to the rest of the country.
Now we're seeing, Clause 24, you've got a very strong campaign against that. What's your view on government's agenda behind this? Because to my mind, it seems to me that they are looking to rid the private rented sector of the more amateur landlord and professionalise the sector, which I'm sure we both agree is actually a positive thing, but we don't agree with the way that they're doing it. Well, I certainly don't.
I certainly don't agree with the way they're doing it, no. I think there's no doubt the government is worried about the growth in the private rental sector. When we first spoke 3 years ago to now, I think the private rental sector probably represented 14% of homes. It's now up to 18-19% of homes. And clearly what the government is doing is taking steps to stop the not casual investor, but the less conscientious investor from entering the market. They wouldn't want to see more homes being provided by the private rental sector. They're much keener to drive the owner-occupied sector of the market, which has dropped by the same percentage as the private rental sector has grown. My concern is that they're damaging the sector beyond recognition, really. I don't think they really understand the value of private sector landlords and what they provide. Good quality homes, well-managed properties, happy tenants,
a
huge
choice.
amount of income into the government coffers as well as into local economies. And the changes that we made on tax and stamp duty, the wage tax is calculated as well, putting more people into higher tax brackets, is really a recipe for disaster for many landlords. And we've taken serious legal advice about the changes. We're taking Queen's Counsel view on the legality of what's been proposed. The feedback from Queen's Counsel is not great. They think it would be difficult to challenge and successfully win a challenge against government on this. So we immediately then go into trying to persuade the government to think naturally about it. And if they want to encourage home ownership, then why don't they encourage landlords to sell the property to the tenants, should the tenants want to buy it, and incentivise it by reducing or removing capital gains tax from that transaction. They would achieve what they want to achieve in one easy swoop. But they seem pretty bloody minded at the moment in terms of what they want to do. I think in a way I've started to believe that the government see landlords as a cash cow. There's no sympathy for landlords, no public sympathy. It's not like the government will backtrack as it did with disability changes or with tax benefit changes. The public empathy for landlords is not great. So they know as a target of people and income, they can target it without too much negative publicity.
Indeed, and just to finish really, Andrew, you are a massive fan of landlord education, which is one of the reasons that the RLA is involved with Property Tribes, powering some of our discussions. One of the things that you've implemented is the much more ramping up the YouTube channel and providing video content for landlords. So could you tell us a little bit about that and the kind of content they can see on there?
Yeah, I think again, since we met 3 years ago, one of the other massive changes that we've all seen in all parts of the population is social media and YouTube and the way people use videos in order to gain knowledge. Now, we've always valued training, but we recognise absolutely that people learn in different ways. The traditional way of learning, sitting in a classroom, it works for some people, but it's expensive to deliver and it doesn't reach out to enough people, ultimately. We still offer that's still available.
Yep.
But what we've done in the past 12 months is improve our online offering of courses.
Yep.
We've amped our online course, made that more readily available, reduced the pricing of it as well to make it more attractive. And then working with you guys and seeing what you've achieved over the past 2 or 3 years, we're now looking at using your skills to create information snippets, I suppose, that people can easily lock into and quickly, if you want to know about the new Section 21, we will have YouTube material available to help them understand it. And that's what we want to do. We want to be able to use this medium to reach out to as many landlords as possible, whether or not they're members. That's irrelevant really. Education of landlords across the sector is absolutely crucial.
Thank you for that. I mean, I'll just finish by saying I know you agree that it's really the informed and educated landlord that will survive, the landlord that adapts, that plans ahead, and these are all things that the RLA can help with.
I think, absolutely. I sometimes wonder why people involved in the sector, the landlords themselves, take the risk of investing thousands and thousands of pounds in bricks and mortar, but don't think about simple ways of protecting their investment. And joining an association like the RLA, going and finding out golden nuggets of information, speaking to professionals about tax changes, about property changes, talking to us about legal changes, using our guides and documents. It's such a simple thing to do. Fantastic value, and I would say that of course, but it is fantastic value at £80 per annum. And I just wish that more people would make that step to get themselves used to the changes, because The one thing that will not change is the level of complexity is going to get worse, I'm afraid. The more that the private sector, the bigger role it plays, and it will not shrink despite the government's best intentions. There's no doubt that they will look to introduce more legislation and more changes in order to, in their view, make it better. In our view, just really make it unworkable.
Indeed. Well, it's been great to catch up with you again, Andrew. Great to have you back on Property Tribes, and thank you to the RLA for your support of Property Tribes as well. And I think, working together, we can really help landlords come, survive and prosper and thrive in these changing conditions.
Well, thank you very much. And I recognise that as good as we are as an association, we can't do it on our own. We don't have exclusive rights to all landlords, and we need to work with Property Tribes, Landlords Zone, other groups out there able to reach out to the landlord population, because we do need to educate the uneducated and inform the uninformed.
Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you.